In the distance, a huge thunderbolt was seen striking something. Nianfan, who was carrying firewood, was really startled. He didn't expect that in broad daylight there would be such a huge lightning and even rain. It really made him upset. The flashes of lightning struck several times, shocking Nianfan to the core. Now Nianfan had found a cave to protect himself. He was really scared to death hearing those tremendous thunderbolts. He thought that the apocalypse would come soon. However, Nianfan realized something. The lightning only struck in one place many times. Elsewhere, two people taking shelter from the rain realized something from the lightning. They knew that there was a 1,000-year-old fox demon transforming. They determined to find the transformed fox. If they got the demon core, it would help them pass through cultivation quickly. Back in the middle of the forest, a very beautiful young woman with pink hair and bright green eyes covered only in a transparent cloth is looking at the surrounding area. If you notice, that woman is a 7-tailed fox that has been transformed into a human. Nianfan popped out of the bushes, who was nagging because his firewood was wet. He suddenly saw a very beautiful woman naked in front of him. Nianfan covered his face but not his eyes. He was shocked to death that there was a very beautiful woman in the middle of the jungle. The fox woman saw Nianfan and was thankful that after her transformation she was directly found by her savior Nianfan. She recalled that 3 years ago she was a 7-tailed fox. After a bad encounter and being injured by cultivators, she was blessed that after her journey, the one who came to help was Nianfan. But it wasn't just her wound that was healed. It only took her 3 years to grow her 9th tail thanks to Nianfan's help. Nianfan carried the fox woman behind and said if the fox woman was still very weak, he would take her for treatment. Indeed, the MC is good at finding opportunities in the narrowness. It turned out that the leaving of Nianfan and the fox woman was noticed by the younger sister of the fox. He was very angry at Nianfan. Because of Nianfan, her sister had been willing to turn into a human and lose her cultivation. Her sister will also not be able to live for more than a month because she has changed her form. She would make sure that before her sister dies, she would send Nianfan to death first. Because of that incident, the immortal cultivators who were hundreds of miles away had already realized that a creature had undergone an unusual transformation and they rushed out to search. Cian, who saw the cultivators going into the forest, realized that it was the direction of the expert's residence. Cian didn't know what motive the fox demon that had cultivated for thousands of years surrendered and turned into a human. Cian was also worried because the core of the demon was very precious. It would attract a lot of people's attention. If the situation became too chaotic, she was worried that it would affect Nianfan's rest time. Cian was furious because if Nianfan couldn't rest and sleep, then Nianfan's health would be compromised. To see her daughter acting weirdly made her mother confused. Cian still didn't let that happen. Suddenly, Cian was surprised by the arrival of his father, who was a king of the Jianlong dynasty. King Lu said that because Cian informed him about the expert's actions, he felt that when the expert chose the Jianlong dynasty, it was a blessing for their heavenly dynasty. If the expert was heard by others, then it was their fault for not taking good care of the expert. The king of Lu was afraid that if the master left, then the blessings of the Jianlong dynasty would be taken away as well. In all seriousness, the king of Lu asked them to leave immediately because anyone who interrupted the master's spare time must be gone. Moved to Master Bai and Master Zhao, who were both floating in the air. Master Bai congratulated Master Zhao for successfully passing through to the out-of-body experience stage. Now Master Zhao would become an immortal again. Master Zhao said that it was thanks to the vegetables he ate from the expert. Master Zhao and also Master Bai are both obsessed with protecting Nianfan. They were aware of the current situation that many people were troubling the expert's peace, so they would compete who could get rid of the most flies. The meaning of flies is the intruder. Back to Nianfan, who was already at his residence and taking care of the fox woman. As Nianfan was comforting the fox woman and saying that his residence was remote and no one would disturb her, suddenly there was a thunderous sound that made them silent immediately. Nianfan tried to convince her once again that the place was safe and away from danger. The fox woman smiled brightly. She made sure to listen to Master Nianfan. Nianfan continued to say anything, which the woman answered with her willingness. When Nianfan asked the fox woman for her name, the fox woman also left it to Nianfan. Nianfan was surprised because she didn't even have a name. Should it also be him who gave her name? The fox woman asked to be given a name by Nianfan. Meanwhile, Nianfan was lost in his own imagination. He assumed that the fox woman was a servant of the rich family, born without the right to life, miserable, and didn't even have a name. She tried very hard to escape and had no home to return to and was seriously robbed and wounded by others. Nianfan immediately felt that today he had saved the woman, so that meant he was the savior. Based on the development of the plot, if he treated the woman well, the woman might repay him with her body, and they would live together in a legal way. He always found a way in any opportunities. With an expression of a gentleman, Nianfan told the fox woman not to be afraid. No matter what the woman had experienced in the past, it didn't matter. From now on, he would protect the woman with all of his heart and soul, and he named her Day. She was happy with the name she was given. When Day was about to say something, Nianfan had already gone out to prepare the medicines. Nianfan was on cloud 9. He had never expected to be in the same space with a woman. He was really nervous, his heart was about to burst because of that. But Nianfan didn't want to think too much about it. He hurried to find the medicine. In the forest, Master Bai and Master Zhao were thankful for Cheng Yun's help. If it wasn't for Cheng Yun, they wouldn't have been able to resist the ants that were bothering the expert. As they were bragging about their successful job of getting rid of the small fish that were bothering the expert, suddenly there was a voice asking who the fish were, and it turned out to be the King of Lu, which surprised Master Bai and the others. The Holy King of Lu even showed up personally. The three of them then greeted the King of Lu. The King of Lu, who saw them, said in his heart, although each setting has its own formation, they are all under the Qianlong dynasty. Although the King of Lu was not very good at martial arts, but the King of Lu was a pure-blooded descendant, and he was the highest-ranking person in the Qianlong dynasty. They could not believe that the King of Lu left the palace and came to the forest by himself. The King of Lu was also immediately hit mentally by Master Bai and Master Zhao. He was asking in his heart since when did the two of them pass through to the stage of out-of-body experience, and since when was out-of-body experience easy to pass through. When Xian saw his father, he understood and told his father that it must be all thanks to the help of the expert. King Lu kept a stiff expression hearing that without reacting. Master Bai agreed with Xian's words. Master Nianfan helped the Wanjiang sect in directing the sword demons, while Master Zhao said that Master Nianfan served him a hot pot, helped him in making a successful breakthrough and prolonged his life. While Cheng Yun said that Master Nianfan had shown him the wisdom of the great truth of the journey to the west. He was lucky enough to hear it. Hearing that they were all getting help from the expert, King Lu felt very envious, but since he was a king, he couldn't say so. King Lu, with the expression and authority of a king, suggested them to meet Master Nianfan. Maybe there was something they could do. They finally arrived at Nianfan's residence. Raja Lu realized that the jade that was hanging at the entrance was the jade he gave to Xian. Whether Master Bai and Master Zhao intended to mock the king or not, they said it was Phoenix jade. No wonder a phoenix flew out of the jade before. It was a decayed stone that had been transformed into a treasure. The mocking annoyed the king and he stormed out of Nianfan's house. Another misunderstanding happened. He thought that the jade pendant must be considered too cheap by the expert. That's why the expert didn't invite him when something good happened. That must be hated by the expert. He had to pay for it. Suddenly, Nianfan came out from inside and found them gathered at his door. Nianfan asked what kind of purpose brought them all back. Master Bai said that they just met by chance at the foothill and ended up at Nianfan's residence. When the King of Lu noticed Nianfan's presence, he immediately fixed his expression and greeted Nianfan. Stian introduced her father, who was a king of the Qianlong dynasty. Of course, Nianfan immediately became pale because a national leader came to see him. Both of them immediately bowed to each other. As Nianfan passed inside, he said he had a favor and wanted to ask for advice from all of them. King Lu asked not to be too polite to them. He just tell Nianfan what the problem is, they will definitely help. Cheng Yun agreed to the king's words. Whether it was a cultivator or a monster that attacked for fun, whoever dared to disturb Nianfan, they would surely kill him without mercy. Nianfan laughed a little and continued to express his gratitude that with their protection, he would be very safe for now. Nianfan opened his room door and showed them something he would ask for help with. A lightning just struck a girl. He wanted them to help in figuring out on how Dai could be helped effectively. The sight of Dai made people shocked. Isn't that the nine-tailed fox demon that turned into a human? Seeing those people made Dai scared and hid in the corner. Surely Nianfan was worried, asking what happened. Dai bluntly said that they all came to arrest her. Of course, Nianfan asked Master Bai and his friends if they had come to arrest Dai. They answered in unison that they had not come to arrest Dai. Master Bai and Master Zhao looked at each other. They chatted silently. If Nianfan misinterpreted it and thought they had come to capture Dai, it would mean the end of the world for them. They couldn't let the master upset and misunderstand them. They all put on their best expressions, saying that they were good people and friends of Nianfan. They told Dai not to be afraid. Nianfan told them imaginary things about Dai's origins, but they all seemed not to care because everything Nianfan said was the truth to them, even if it was a lie. They will still believe him anyway. Despite the fact that they already knew that Dai was a fox demon, they still agreed to Nianfan's imaginations about Dai, who was a maid who was mistreated and ran away from her master. Nianfan asked for help to heal Dai, who was injured from a lightning strike. They of course couldn't heal her because Dai was not injured by a lightning strike, but it was the result of a demon transforming into a human. Nianfan gave Dai a bowl of medicine to drink, gently handing it to Dai. When everyone saw the medicine Nianfan gave Dai, everyone was surprised. Cheng Yun felt that the fox was destined to die, but with just a bowl of medicine, Dai instantly recovered. that really turned the world upside down. After taking the medicine given by Nianfan, Day's body shone due to the effects of the medicine. Because Nianfan did not understand how the world worked, he only believed that if beautiful women took medicine, they could shine. Cheng Yun then offered Nianfan that he had many kinds of medicine in Yun's immortaling pavilion that could heal Day's wounds, but was cut off by Master Bei, who offered remedies from his sect. The same went for Master Zhao, who was keen to help provide medicine for Day. In the meantime, King Lu was looking serious as he called Nianfan. He was going back to the palace to bring some medicine, but he asked Nianfan to accept what he was about to give. King Lu was very upset that the gift given last time, Jade, had turned out to be a wrong one, but he would make sure to offer his national treasure this time. He had to recover his image. As ever, Nianfan, with his innocent face, accepted the box given to him by the King of Luo. Nianfan tried to open the box, but what came out of it was the aura of a golden dragon. The dragon asked in a heavy tone what was the reason for them to bother him who was taking a rest. Everyone looked surprised to see the dragon, because it was the national treasure Dragon Ball of the Qianlong Heavenly Dynasty. Without any reaction, Nianfan looked up to see the dragon with an innocent expression. However, the dragon mentally looked at Nianfan's existence and went back into the Dragon Ball. Things was quiet for a while, but the King of Lu was in disbelief, completely shocked to see the dragon inside the Dragon Ball hiding just looking at Nianfan. Cheng Yun said the soul of the ancient fire dragon always showed a terrifying character, but just by seeing Nianfan in an instant and then acting like a coward and hiding. The King of Lu was seen almost completely dead. Nianfan was amazed to see a dragon coming out of the ball. He had never seen a dragon. He innocently asked if the dragon was spitting fire. King Lu confirmed it. It can really spit fire. Nianfan tried to persuade the dragon in the ball to show itself and spit out fire, but because the dragon was so afraid of Nianfan, he only released small fireworks from the ball where it was hiding. Nianfan was very grateful to King Lu and the Masters because last time they were specifically Master Bai gave him a light bulb, and this time they gave him a flashlight. The cultivators had strange things. The Dragon Ball given by King Lu was only considered a flashlight by Nianfan, so they couldn't really have many arguments and just agreed to what Nianfan wanted to say. Nianfan felt bad about the help they always gave. He promised to do his best to return their kindness. Not sure what they thought. When they heard Nianfan's words that he wanted to return the favor, they were immediately surprised. Obviously, they did not refuse but just agreed, because they knew that if they refused, it would be a big loss for themselves. Nianfan thanked King Lu and the others once again for their help. King Lu and the others will leave soon. King Lu excitedly said that they would prepare the necessary medicine immediately. They all leaped away from Nianfan's residence with full responsibility to satisfy Nianfan. Moving on to Cheng Yun, who had arrived at Immortal Lingyun's pavilion. An elder greeted Cheng Yun, who had returned. Cheng Yun straightaway ordered to bring all the medicines from the pavilion. The elder said that the pavilion had so many medicines. If she wanted to take all the medicines, it would need several months to collect them. Cheng Yun agreed. She was overexcited and not thinking clearly. In that case, she would just take all the best ones. Cheng Yun's request made the elder even more shocked and fainted. At the same time, at Nianfan's house, Nianfan was showing Day the yard where he had planted some plants and he was taking care of it carefully. Although it was not very spacious, but it was enough for the two of them. Nianfan then introduced Blackie. Even though Blackie was not from any dog species and did not have any abilities, Blackie was very obedient. Blackie, of course, put on his best smiley face because in Blackie's eyes, Day was a beautiful fox. Xiaobai was also introduced. Xiaobai's job was to take care of the yard and cook. Day could freely ask Xiaobai for help. Xiaobai welcomed Day, who called her Miss. To hear Xiaobai addressing Day as Mrs. makes Nianfan act wrong. He asked Xiaobai not to say that kind of nonsense, but Nianfan is actually very happy. Indirectly, Day was his wife. Meanwhile, behind Nianfan's back, Day didn't react to the situation and just put on a dark face. Day was really hit mentally. She was sweating cold. She didn't expect that Xiaobai, the magical artifacts, and the deity dog were just called ordinary animals. A yard planted with spiritual plants, is that normal? She was expecting to repay Nianfan's kindness by changing her form into a human and having a child from Nianfan. But considering her current condition, she didn't know how she could repay Nianfan's kindness. Day asked if she could really live with Nianfan. Sure enough, Nianfan welcomed Day gladly. If Day didn't mind, the house would also be Day's forever home. This made Day immediately bow in gratitude, and she promised to take good care and serve Nianfan forever. The sudden sight of Day bowing made Nianfan surprised. Nianfan crouched down to look at Day, saying that Day did not need to serve anyone because they were equal. Unfortunately, Day did not know what an equal was. While holding Day's hand, Nianfan asked Day not to worry if Day didn't know. The first thing he would teach her was to play chess. Day didn't understand what he meant by playing chess, but it seemed Nianfan misunderstood. Nianfan thought Day didn't know what the game was. Nianfan said it was chess being played. Day had a strange expression, saying in her heart if she knew it was chess, but why suddenly play chess? But she didn't dare to ask Nianfan's decision to play chess. Nianfan explained that the chessboard was an equal system for everyone, regardless of who sat on either side. Whether it is a king playing with a homeless person or a teacher with a student on either side of the chessboard, there is no hierarchy. But even after a few explanations, Day still didn't get the meaning. The point was that Nianfan said that playing games was the best way to improve relationships. He would explain it to Day. Nianfan showed her how to play. He moved one of the pieces in the chess, and suddenly something happened to Day. In Day's subconscious, she felt like she was on a chessboard. Whenever Nianfan moved a piece, Day's soul felt like it was being hit and crushed by the pieces. After she felt the extraordinary thrill, Day understood that it was the truth of playing chess. However, the truth Day understood was different from what Nianfan meant, and there was another misunderstanding. Day felt too careless and failed to avoid the catastrophe during the transformation. That is why Nianfan used chess to teach her the truth. Nianfan's generosity continued to grow. Nianfan looked cheerful as he explained everything, but was surprised to see Day crying. Nianfan asked Day why she was crying, but Day didn't answer. Continues previous story. Day thanked Nianfan with a big smile and understood. She would listen to Nianfan's advice and try again. What Nianfan understood by trying was trying to play chess and learn, but what Day meant was cultivating, because every time she played chess, she went into her subconscious and cultivated her body. Day knelt down and thanked Nianfan for his kindness, but Nianfan asked Day not to do anything like that. Don't bow to him anymore. Day felt bad that she could not return Nianfan's kindness, so she was ready to serve Nianfan for life. She was willing to live in never-ending obedience. Nianfan was silent when he heard Day's statement, which then made his heart swoon. After all, Day was willing to do anything to make Nianfan think of all sort of things. Nianfan's face turned red and some smoke came out of his nostrils and ears. He tried to convince himself that even though his mind was all over the place, he still tried to tell himself that it was all just a trial from the gods. Of course, Nianfan was happy about that. He hid it by saying, although equality was better, but if Day insisted, he would be happy to do it together with Day. The sight of their master acting strangely made Yaoguai and Blackie worried. After all that conversation, Nianfan, who was still looking extremely happy, asked Day to go gather wild vegetables to make some food. Nianfan opened the door to his house. He was a little surprised to see someone outside who was actually Meng Liang. Nianfan was in a panic and didn't know what to do. Noticing Nianfan's arrival, Meng Liang rushed over and greeted Nianfan. With a little annoyance, Nianfan asked Meng Liang what was the matter with him outside his house. Meng Liang said that the words written on both sides of Nianfan's door caught his attention, so he thought he wouldn't be bothering Nianfan even though he was sitting in front of Nianfan's door. Nianfan slowly entered his house and closed the door as Meng Liang's talk became more and more absurd. Nianfan, in a cold sweat and worried, decided to stay away and not want to get close to Meng Liang. While Meng Liang went back to sitting on the rock, he stayed in front of the door again. Not long after, Xian and King Lu were seen flying to Nianfan's residence. King Lu was grateful that he had finally successfully collected all the Heavenly Dynasty medicine. They had to be the first to give the medicine to Nianfan before anyone else. But suddenly they were surprised because there was a monster coming towards Nianfan's house. King Lu, who was panicking, said that it was a monster of the same class as the Demon King. He was afraid that the monsters were looking for the fox pill, and it would troublesome for the expert. Xian was also afraid. There was no way the two of them could stop the monsters with their own strength. The two monsters approaching Nianfan's house had now made it to the front door. They were the wolf monster and also the bull monster. The wolf said that he had caught the scent of the fox. The fox must be in the house. The bull said if he didn't believe the fox had the courage to transform, so it would be very easy for them to find it because it was powerless. Thus, they should quickly capture and take the fox's core. The wolf and bull approached the door and passed Meng Liang and stopped, but they just turned around and kept walking. Meng Liang asked them to stop because this place couldn't be visited casually. They could leave before it was too late, but Meng Liang's warning was ignored. The bull attacked Meng Liang right away. Meng Liang did nothing, but it didn't even touch him. The bull and the wolf thought Meng Liang was already terrified. They went on their way again. Meng Liang sighed, saying that monsters were very stubborn. The property of Nianfan the expert should not be touched by monsters like them. The wolf didn't want to continue arguing with Meng Liang, so it attacked with its claws. Again, Meng Liang didn't take any action, but the wolf's attack was instantly dodged without being touched. The monsters instantly got a mental hit from the incident. They couldn't believe how it happened. Meng Liang recited a poem and suddenly the sky went dark and lightning began to strike. Suddenly, a tornado of lightning struck them and made them return to their original forms, a wolf and a bull. Meng Liang glanced at Nianfan's door, bowed, and went back to his seat. King Lu and Xin seemed to have arrived there as well. They both had surprised looks on their faces. King Lu asked Xin if Xin had seen it, a scholar defeating a monster that was almost comparable to a demon king in just a few seconds. They chatted for a while before Meng Liang finally left Nianfan's residence, which was his intention to follow Nianfan's tale of the journey to the west. Inside Nianfan's residence, King Lu and Xin had met Nianfan and told him about Meng Liang, who had been sitting in front of Nianfan's house all day. Nianfan complained that Meng Liang kept asking him about long life every time he opened his mouth. He had explained in detail, but Meng Liang still didn't understand anything. Nianfan also apologized for not yet thanking King Lu for the things they had given him. A storage bracelet had been given to Nianfan, but King Lu and Xin were still in disbelief that Nianfan had told Meng Liang about long life. Xin and her father were still concerned with a long life, while Nianfan was still excited about getting the storage bracelet. Cultivator's world, which Nianfan thought was extraordinary. Suddenly, Cheng Yun came calling Nianfan from the front door of his house. She just barged in because the entrance door was unlocked. Cheng Yun was also suddenly surprised to see the storage bracelet in Nianfan's hand. It was a jade storage bracelet. Cheng Yun really couldn't figure it out. Shenlong Heavenly Dynasty even brought very valuable items for Nianfan, but thankfully she also brought the most excellent medicines from Ling Yun's immortal pavilion. Nianfan greeted Cheng Yun with a friendly smile. Cheng Yun politely said that she had come to give Nianfan the medicine she had promised. Cheng Yun took out a high-level medicinal plant. The light emitted was very harsh to both Xin's and King Lu's eyes. Because she wanted to be praised by Nianfan, Cheng Yun took out the medicinal plants all at once, which drained her energy and even made her vomit blood. However, Cheng Yun was still confident. People who can take out high-level medicinal plants altogether are limited to fingers. Nianfan was once again impressed by the abilities of the immortals. All of a sudden, Master Bai and Master Zhao appeared from behind the wall of door. They raised their hands and said that they had brought the medicine they had promised. Master Zhao took out a small box and opened it. He brought a seed. Master Zhao told them that his ancestors had gone to an ancient secret realm and had luckily obtained the seed. King Lu, who was stunned, asked about the seed, but Master Zhao didn't even know because he was very naughty when he was young. He realized that the seed was resistant to sharp swords, water, and fire. Hearing Master Zhao's story left King Lu and Xin speechless. Nianfan found the seed interesting. Even though the seed seemed to be in a dormant state, it was still possible to live and was also good. Was Master Zhao sure about giving it to him? He really wanted to try to bring his seed back to life. Of course, Master Zhao left it to Nianfan, whatever Nianfan wanted to do with it. Nianfan was happy to be gifted the seed. He was someone who had been titled the ultimate farmer by the system. He would plant the seeds and see what crops would grow. Suddenly, Nianfan realized and ran into the house, saying that they had brought him a lot of treasure, so he had prepared some small gifts for everyone. At the mention of Nianfan's small gifts, everyone was really very happy. Nianfan was back with a few packs in his hands. Nianfan said that the tea plants had all grown up, although not much, but he planted them himself fresh and healthy. He wished they would accept it. They thanked Nianfan after receiving the tea bags and said their goodbyes. But soon their expressions all turned wary. They each held the tea bags tightly, as they were concerned that someone would take them away. The sight of the immortals leaving by flying so fast made Nianfan envious because they were so fast like an airplane. Day was already there and greeted Nianfan. Nianfan showed the medicinal plants given by the immortals earlier. He intended to take some of the plants that could cure Day and plant the rest. The medicinal plants were glittery and would look amazing if used as decorations. Day was puzzled by hearing Nianfan's ridiculous words. The medicinal plants had been picked and he would even use them as decorations. Nianfan took out the medicinal plants and showed them to Day. Surely Day was impressed because they were all high-level medicinal plants, and she warned Nianfan that if the planting method was wrong, it would damage the medicinal plants. Nianfan was confidently saying that Day was underestimating him. Never judge a book by its cover. He had lived in that place for 5 years and he grew all his own crops like cabbage and other vegetables. Day was getting more and more clueless, with an expression of sadness and annoyance all mixed up. How can medicinal plants be compared to vegetables? Nianfan took Day to see the garden that he had been taking care of by himself. Day still did not expect that even though Nianfan was not an ordinary person or a powerful immortal, but comparing medicinal plants with vegetable plants was very exaggerated. She didn't understand whether Nianfan was a simple person or a fool. Before she could conclude her thought, Day's face was suddenly in turmoil, as if a gust of wind had hit her. It made Day limp and she grabbed onto the wall next to her. Day was completely frozen as she felt the Taoist energy in the garden. Nianfan was confused by seeing that Day was silent and didn't say anything, so she asked her. Day apologized for being too startled. Day's surprise made Nianfan happy. He became a bit proud. Nianfan showed some plants in the shells and pots behind him and asked Day to see if she liked them. Day did not answer and was still stunned as she had many questions in her mind. Since Day didn't react at all, Nianfan immediately pulled Day into the garden. She was immediately surprised that there were cabbage at the level of high-level medicinal plants, potatoes, and others at the level of high-level medicinal plants. Day's face turned blank again. She said to herself, no wonder Nianfan compared high-level medicinal plants to cabbage. Even the most ordinary things can get divine qualities in that environment full of Taoists. Day was a bit surprised to see something about to come up from the pond. It was Nianfan's pet turtle. Seeing the huge size of the turtle made Day once again shocked to death. Out loud, Day said, "Isn't that a turtle?" Nianfan casually said that it was an ordinary turtle. The fishmonger had given it to him. It was an old turtle. When he brought it to the pond, it was just the size of his palm, but it had grown to the size of a human in less than a month. Nianfan continued, at first he was worried if there were monsters in his house, so he brought the turtle to lure the monsters. But it seems there are no monsters there. He was just too stupid. Behind Nianfan, Day gave a dark look, still in shock. She was trying to stay calm and silently said that she was the one who was stupid. She was actually worried that such an immortal embodiment would not be able to plant such medicinal herbs properly. Her eyesight was still lacking. How could she qualify to doubt Nianfan? She convinced herself that next time she should always realize that Nianfan's ideas were always right. Nianfan then watered something and showed Day. He was watering the seed that was given by Master Zhao, which he said was a 1,000-year-old seed. He was unsure if it would still grow or not, but at least he would try to plant it. Hopefully something good would grow. The scene moves to two people flying in the air. They are Qin and Suan from Lin's immortal palace. Qin was talking about the appearance of the fox demon that had transformed into a human. Qin told Suan that if Lin's immortal palace did not take the step to protect him, then who would? Suan understood that the purpose of their visit to Chuanlong Dynasty was to protect the fox demon, but that didn't seem so. The look on Qin's face said otherwise. Qin continued, only by staying in Lin's immortal palace, the fox demon would be protected, and only Lin's immortal palace had the ability to protect it. After a while, they finally arrived at Chuanlong's Dynasty Palace. Qin said she would visit King Lu first and ask him about the appearance of the nine-tailed heavenly demon fox and its whereabouts. The scene moved to the King of Lu, who was still in his office. He was still thinking about what he should do. He was so confused that he looked like he was going to die. He kept thinking that if the current situation persisted, the immortals would surely find their way to the residence of Nianfan the expert to find Day. While he was thinking, his wife suddenly came and served him tea. They had a small talk about how to solve the ongoing problem, which was about the fox demon who became human, Day precisely. King Lu was confused, anxious, and also afraid that the immortals would find the fox demon and cause a fuss that would disturb Nianfan. He did not know what to do. While talking with his wife, a servant from the door informed him that there was a visitor, Cultivator Qin from Lin Palace. King Lu was already getting even more panicked. Even people from Lin's immortal palace were coming. He told the servants to welcome her immediately. King Lu rushed off to meet Qin from Lin's immortal palace. He asked his wife to prepare tea to serve to the guests. He asked her to brew the best tea from the southern border. Zayn understood and would do so immediately, but then Xian was puzzled because she didn't know where her husband had put the tea. King Lu has now welcomed Qin, and they greet each other. Soon after, the king asked Xin why she was visiting the Qianlong dynasty. Qin said that King Lu should have obviously noticed what the purpose of the visit was. She was here for the nine-tailed heavenly fox. When he heard that, he was shocked and panicked at the same time. The king tried to deny it. He said that it was just a rumor and unbelievable. Of course, Qin didn't believe it either. She refuted King Lu's words because she got the information from the Silver Moon Demon King. He had been chasing the Fox clan for a long time and was familiar with them, so the rumors should be believable. Qin instantly asked if the king already knew the location of the house, and if it was possible for the king to hide it. The king was getting even more panicked. He did not answer, but stammeringly invited Qin to go inside and drink tea together. Cut to Xian, the king's wife, who was searching for the tea her husband was talking about. Xian looked at a shelf and saw the tea in question. She was about to prepare it, but then she looked the other way and saw a bundle in the corner mixed with other items. Xian was curious about the contents. She approached and opened the package. It contained a great tea. Xian, of course, asked what it was. She had no idea what kind of tea it was. She had never seen it before. She wondered which one to brew, but finally decided. Back to King Lu and Qin, who were conversing. King Lu asked about the purpose of Lin's immortal palace chasing the heavenly fox. Qin said that Lin's immortal palace decided to ask the fox to join Lin's palace. They would do the best they could to cultivate it into an immortal. Now the fox was very close to immortality. King Lu was slightly calmed by Qin's answer. Qin asked the king not to worry. Lim Palace had no bad intentions or anything for the fox. They continued to chat and talk about other things, like the path to immortality had already been cut off. King Lu somewhat agreed with that statement, but then he shuddered at the thought of Nianfan. He wondered if the path to immortality had been cut off, so where would the expert Nianfan come from? King Lu was absorbed in his own thoughts. He smiled at himself, thinking whether Qin would still have the nerve to take the fox when he knew the fact that the expert had taken care of it. When Qin saw that the king was busy with his own thoughts, she got angry and asked him to be serious. Qin said loudly that 2 of the Silver Moon Demon King's men disappeared while searching for the 9-tailed fox, and now the Silver Moon Demon King sent more men to search for it. If they found it and swallowed the fox's core, not only would there be no 9-tailed divine foxes left in the world at that time, but no one would even be able to deal with the Silver Moon Demon King in the future. After venting her heart out furiously, Qin finally calmed down and sat back down. She asked the king to understand and take the matter seriously. Then Xian came with the tea she had prepared and served it to them. Qin thanked her for the tea. King Lu said that it was a rare tea. Since there was an opportunity today, he wanted to offer Qin a taste as well. Qin raised his glass and was about to taste it. She saw that the color of the tea was green and filled with qi, which made a big impression on Qin. Qin praised the tea, which was a very good tea. King Lu was pleased with the compliment. He laughed at himself, saying that his tea collection was indeed extraordinary. Even Qin admired it. But then he realized that it wasn't his tea collection. He became even more frantic. Was it possibly the tea given to him by Nianfan the expert? Qin took a sip of the tea, which made her feel like she had entered another world. A world filled with truth. Qin returned to her senses and asked what kind of tea it was. It only took 1 cup of tea to make her have a glimpse of the truth. Immortal Lin's palace tea was nothing compared to that tea. Qin wanted to ask about the tea, but King Lu made a sulky, annoyed face. With a shiver, the king of Lu asked where his wife found the tea. Smiling, Xian said she found it in the corner of the treasure collection room. She was worried that he would tuck it away and forget about it. King Lu cried that he could not tolerate his tea being brewed and drunk with others. It was a gift from the master. It was his lifeline. Qin asked the king not to freak out like that. It was indeed a fine tea, and Lin's immortal palace would always remember his good deeds. Deep down, King Lu shouted that he didn't care and that it was better to get out of there. Qin became even more persistent by asking to make an exchange or give her some of the tea. The king was furious hearing this. He asked Qin what she was talking about. He snapped at Qin, who had already drunk his lifeline's worth of tea and still wanted to ask for more. To hell with it. The king didn't care about Qin anymore, just kicked her out. Seeing Qin being kicked out by King Lu was surprising to Xuan. How could Qin be treated like that? Qin explained that when she asked about the existence of the heavenly fox, the king of Lu purposely hid it. She understood that there was a big secret hidden. The king mentioned Nianfan the expert and said the tea was given by the expert. Qin ordered Xuan to send all the informants to find out the whereabouts of Nianfan the expert. But there was suddenly someone telling Qin to drop the idea. It turned out to be Shiyu. Shiyu continued that she knew Qin's character when doing something. She would not stop until she found it. And since Qin was aware of the expert's whereabouts, it was only a matter of time until Qin found out. Those words made Qin feel praised by Shiyu. Shiyu continued, just as Qin had guessed, this Nianfan expert was not an ordinary person. Shiyu said seriously, if Qin were to act recklessly, it wouldn't just be Qianlong's dynasty that would be destroyed, but Lin's immortal palace wouldn't be able to avoid it either. Qin said that it's too much. Shiyu said that it was not exaggerated at all. Shiyu was telling the truth. The 9-tailed fox demon had actually been saved from misfortune by the expert, so Qin had nothing to worry about. This surprised Qin, as she thought it was impossible to save people from the doom. She asked what level this expert was, whether he was an immortal. With a serious look on her face, Shiyu said that the expert was not an immortal, but someone above immortal level. Shiyu and Qin now went to a crowded place. Qin seemed annoyed that people were staring at her with perverted faces. Shiyu asked Qin not to be mad because the expert did not like to be disturbed, so it was improper to take Qin to see the expert. Qin was puzzled. The path to immortality had been closed for thousands of years, yet Shiyu confirmed that there were people capable of surpassing immortal. If that was true, it would have a devastating impact on the world of immortals. Qin asked, was there anyone else? What kind of person would it be? Shiyu turned to say that it was a book boy, the book boy of Nianfan the expert. They both arrived at a place and sat at a table there. Shiyu apparently took Qin to listen to a tale, and it was delivered by Meng Liang, who was already seated at the prepared place. Meng Liang was going to tell a tale about the journey to the west that had been told by Nianfan. In short, the story of the journey to the west made Qin feel like she saw a great battle and she was included in the battle. She realized it was the immortal world. She was truly impressed by everything about the tale. Qin then said cheerfully that even a book boy had such knowledge. What kind of person was this expert? Once finished with the tale, Qin approached Meng Liang and asked him about the hesitant thoughts inside her heart. Was it still possible for them to become immortal, while the path of immortality had been cut off long ago? Meng Liang said some things that made Qin realize a qualification. Meng Liang confirmed it. Who was immortal and who was mortal? Only those who made the rules could determine. Should Qin listen to the expert's tales of the journey to the west, Qin would definitely gain some insight. Hearing that made she think. Nighttime now at Nianfan's residence. Dai was seen taking a walk in the forest near Nianfan's residence. Suddenly something approached, which was apparently Dai's younger sister. The younger sister was really worried about Dai. She was afraid that Dai would be harassed by Nianfan. She cheerfully said nothing had happened to her. The master was very kind to her. Hearing Dai call Nianfan master made her sister angry. Didn't Dai come to Nianfan just to marry him to repay the honor? Dai tried to convince her sister that Nianfan had treated her very well and politely. Acknowledging him as a master was the greatest gift of her life. Dai's sister was in despair, saying that her sister had been demeaned by Nianfan into a pet. Then, Dai gave something to her sister. It was an apple. The younger sister was even more frustrated when she received the apple. She yelled and cried, "What kind of fox likes to eat apples?" Dai explained that the apple planted by Master Nianfan was not an ordinary apple. It was better to eat it immediately and find out the effect. With hesitation, the younger sister finally took a bite of the apple. Moving on to Nianfan, who was surprised to notice a blast of light in the distance, which turned out to be Dai's sister, who seemed to have been breaking through. Dai's sister was very impressed with the magical fruit. Dai understood her sister's amazement. She asked her sister to leave immediately after eating it because she gave the apple without telling Master Nianfan. It would be a terrible thing if Master Nianfan found out. So the younger sister left her. All of a sudden, someone called Dai from behind her. Dai was startled and looked back to find it was Nianfan. Nianfan asked what Dai was doing at night in the forest and who Dai was talking to earlier. Dai cutely apologized to Nianfan because the apple gifted to her was given to her sister instead. Nianfan didn't understand about Dai's sister. Dai explained that her sister was a six-tailed fox. Although she looked stupid, she was very kind and she didn't bite. She came just to see his condition because she was worried. At the mention of the fox, Nianfan warned Dai that the fox was a carnivore, it couldn't eat fruit, and it only ate small insects and others. Nianfan asked to give meat to Dai's pet fox next time since they still had lots of meat in stock. Of course, Dai was surprised that Nianfan was not angry with her. Nianfan asked why he would be angry. He thought girls who liked animals were cute. A misunderstanding happened here. Nianfan thought that Dai's sister was a fox or Dai's pet, so Dai thought of the fox as a sister. Nianfan also mentioned that a few years ago there was a small fox with several tails that was rescued. Was it the same fox that Dai thought of as a sister? Dai was surprised to hear that. Nianfan with a shy face said that according to the myth, the fox understood human behavior. Perhaps the fox had come to return the kindness he had done. Maybe she would be a beautiful girl to serve him forever. The person being referred to as Dai's sister. Then Nianfan laughed to himself and said that it was just a joke, and he thought Dai was very interesting, always considering small pets as siblings. Eventually Dai misunderstood too, thinking that Nianfan already knew her true identity. Nianfan must have given a hint by saying that. Dai assumed that Nianfan wanted her sister to turn into a human and serve Nianfan as well. Just thinking about it made Dai even more excited. She thought, would that mean that her sister would receive the greatest blessing from Nianfan? Back to Xiaoyu and Qin, who are now in the pavilion. Xiaoyu said that Qin should have figured out by now that the expert was invincible, so they should leave the fox alone. Qin did not respond and asked why they were cultivating to become immortals instead. Xiaoyu replied, of course, to become immortal. Overhearing Xiaoyu's answer made Qin giggle. She had just realized that the path of immortality had been closed because immortality was just a dream, but Nianfan, the expert, appeared. In the tales of the journey to the west, there was a divine resolve in the darkness. Jin Chanzi already ranked at the top of the immortal class, but for transcendence in the world, he reincarnated as a monk. Tang monks meditated all over the western path. Nianfan the expert might be the Tang monk of this world. He came to save the immortals. Listening to Qin's absurd opinion, Xiaoyu also somewhat agreed with it. Qin excitedly said, then why didn't Xiaoyu take him to see the Nianfan expert? Xiaoyu was really surprised by the request. Hadn't she said that the master liked peace? After some arguing, both of them had finally arrived at the Nianfan residence. Qin was already very impressed with Nianfan's simplicity. His small house, small yard, everything was very humble. Xiaoyu, who saw, felt full of pressure. Xiaoyu said once again to warn Qin, if meeting with Nianfan the expert, not to be hasty. If Nianfan was unhappy with her, then Qin should leave immediately. Qin confidently told Xiaoyu not to worry, as she had a great politeness. Moving on to Nianfan. At the same time, he was playing chess with Dai in the backyard. The confused Dai asked the direction of the chess set if she could place it anywhere. Nianfan scolded Dai because that was not how chess was to be played. It terrified Dai, and she apologized. Dai's chess walk did not comply with the rules over and over again, which upset Nianfan furiously. He was upset because Dai had practiced for several days, but there was no progress at all. Watching his master being like that to a woman made Blackie mutter in his heart, no wonder Nianfan was always alone. Someone suddenly knocked on Nianfan's door, which surprised both Blackie and Yaoguai. Xiaoyu and Qin were knocking on the door. Nianfan opened the door, and Xiaoyu immediately introduced Qin as her friend. Nianfan was surprised to see Qin. Nianfan thought that Qin was doing cosplay. Nianfan was an honest person. He said that Qin's outfit was very attractive. Xiaoyu asked Nianfan not to pay attention to them, and they apologized for bothering Nianfan. Nianfan took the lead, saying why bother, he always welcomed them. Hearing that they were welcomed by Nianfan made them both immediately surprised, even kneeling down. They asked to be advised if Nianfan had any requests. Of course, Nianfan was surprised by their behavior like that. Nianfan was a little confused about how he could give orders, but he had indeed been in trouble lately. He wondered if they had a solution to his problem. Once again, they almost prostrated themselves in front of Nianfan. They said that Nianfan was free to give them orders. Nianfan was getting annoyed that they were overreacting and yelled at them to stop teasing him. Nianfan said that the monsters and cultivators actually started flying around and causing noise. It was so scary that he was afraid to go out. So could they help to find out what was going on? Xiaoyu muttered in her heart was those who were looking for the nine-tailed fox. It would be quite difficult to get rid of all the cultivators, even with the abilities of the Wanjiang sect, Shenlong Palace, and Lingyan Palace. But it was different with Qin. Qin had such an enthusiastic face. She thought Lin's immortal palace needed to appear and solve the problem. Qin was still impressed that Nianfan had said that he was waiting for her and Xiaoyu to arrive. It seemed like Nianfan had expected Lin's immortal palace to come visit. Now that was a misunderstanding. Actually, Nianfan didn't know anything. With a frightening smile on her face, Qin told Nianfan to leave it to him. She assured that when Nianfan went out of the house, Nianfan would definitely not meet the monsters and cultivators again. Nianfan was thankful for that, even though it was a bit creepy the way Qin said it. As they were talking, Dai came out and asked if there were any guests. Qin was surprised to see Dai appear and said that it could be the nine-tailed fox. Xiaoyu looked more surprised than Qin. Qin, who saw Xiaoyu was more surprised, asked why Xiaoyu was more surprised than her. Xiaoyu told Qin that the heavenly nine-tailed fox had been suffered in a catastrophe and lost its entire cultivation base, but how could it return to the salvage stage in just a short period of time? Qin also began to get even more surprised that the nearly dead Dai was directly in the savor cultivation in just a few days. Wasn't immortality cultivation just over? It was so stressful that Qin was upset. She no longer wanted to be a saint. It was fine if she had to become a dishwasher in Nianfan's house as long as she could gain strength. Nianfan wanted to find someone other than Dai to play chess with, so he asked Xiaoyu and Qin to play chess with him. They both were surprised by Nianfan's invitation to play chess. Nianfan was a little embarrassed to say so. Dai was new to chess, so he wanted to play with others and demonstrate to Dai. Qin agreed in her heart. She was already very confident. She had been a smart kid since she was young. She was good at playing chess, writing calligraphy, and reading fluently. There were only a few people who could defeat him in Lingyan's immortal palace. If she happened to defeat the expert by accident, would that make her happy? She would purposely make mistakes and lose to make the expert happy. As Qin looked at the chessboard that was to be used, it made her mentally challenged. She wondered whether it was a chess game or an argument. Nianfan asked Qin to take a seat. Qin elegantly took a seat in front of Nianfan, and he let Qin make the first move. As Qin moved the white pieces, she suddenly entered a different realm. She was like a piece in the chess, and Qin was completely surprised as to where on earth she was. A large hand was controlling a black piece that was about to hit Qin from above, so Qin, who was inside the chess piece, was immediately crushed by the black piece. Still, she kept trying. For a few moves, she was able to dodge some of the pieces that Nianfan played. Qin, who seemed to be struggling, said that it was not a game of chess, but learning to understand heaven and earth. Master Nianfan was showing the truth of heaven and earth right before her eyes. It was a good chance. She didn't know how much her weak body could take in that knowledge, but she was a saint from Lingyan's immortal palace. She had to be tough. Qin convinced herself wholeheartedly. However, before even taking a step, a black piece suddenly hit her. In the real world, Qin was moving the white piece, but suddenly Qin vomited blood. Seeing this left Nianfan terrified and screaming. What was going on? Is Qin okay? Qin, almost dying, was still responding to Nianfan. She said that Nianfan was very good at playing chess. She really admired Nianfan's ability. She was always proud of her own ability to play chess and thought she was pretty good. But when saw Nianfan's ability, she realized that she only saw some parts of the world and didn't know anything about it. Or we can say that she felt great when there are still those who are greater than her. While still trembling from her realization, Qin tries to continue the game. She said that she thought no one in the world could be Nianfan's opponent. She could not stand it anymore. She thanked Nianfan for teaching him such a great thing. At this moment, Qin collapsed on the table. Nianfan was really panicked seeing that. Shigyu was also worried seeing Qin, who was helpless just because of playing chess with Nianfan. Shigyu thought Qin was putting on an act, but wasn't the act already too much if it was just to impress Nianfan? Nianfan was in shock. But the thing to worry about wasn't Qin's condition, but rather that Qin could only play 11 moves. Qin only played 11 moves but gave up immediately. He didn't have any idea what was going on. Dai, who saw that Qin could go 11 steps, found it amazing. As expected of the palace saint immortal Ling Yun, Dai was impressed with Qin. Nianfan was getting even more clueless with a strange look on her face. Nianfan said to himself, how could Qin be considered good? Xiaoyu thought that she might be ahead if she could play with Nianfan. She said silently that Qin was underestimating the situation this time. Nianfan was only concerned with having fun while playing chess. To fake a match on purpose, that was disrespectful. She admired the wrong side of Nianfan. Therefore, she would use the opportunity to get Nianfan's attention. Xiaoyu confidently asked to play chess. Of course, Nianfan immediately agreed, expecting to play until the end. Xiaoyu proudly said that playing chess was a mandatory lesson of the royal family. She had practiced it since she was a child, so she thought she could do well in this game. Nianfan rolled up his sleeves and felt very happy already. He had finally found a good opponent. Nianfan made the first move with a black piece. Soon Xiaoyu was startled with a puzzled look on her face just before Nianfan's piece actually hit her. Xiaoyu was sorry for having underestimated the chess game. Dai and Qin really didn't expect Xiaoyu to be defeated so miserably. Xiaoyu was seen lying on the ground with foaming mouth just from playing chess with Nianfan. Nianfan really didn't understand what was wrong with these people from the immortal world. Where did they get the confidence to play chess? Even just playing one move, they just collapse. As the owner of the chess game, Nianfan did not know the truth about chess. He wondered why people who played chess were always like that. Then Nianfan thought that Xiaoyu was a royal princess. He believed that no one would dare to beat Xiaoyu since she was young. Xiaoyu thought she was good at chess. Nianfan said with a sad look that was very unfortunate. As Nianfan complained, Xiaoyu immediately stood up with trembling body, saying that actually Xiaoyu did not continue the words as she was cut off by Nianfan, who said that Xiaoyu did not need to explain. It was never too late to realize reality. Xiaoyu should practice well and not be shy. Both Qin and Dai heard the advice and looked down silently. They said that they would remember those words. Xiaoyu was grateful for Nianfan's advice. She would come back soon and think about it. Nianfan said that if they both did not look well, perhaps they would like to take a little rest in his place. Qin politely declined. She was already troubling Nianfan. Indeed, playing chess was tiring her body and soul, so she had to go back too. Nianfan was surprised that they only played for 5 minutes, but they both looked so exhausted. With an uncomfortable expression, Nianfan agreed. They should rest soon. Soon, Qin and Xiaoyu left Nianfan's residence and were accompanied by Nianfan and Dai. But all of a sudden, Xiaoyu's footsteps stumbled over something which made her about to fall down. But Qin quickly helped Xiaoyu, asking what happened. Xiaoyu said that she stumbled over something. They both saw the thing that made Xiaoyu stumble. It was a piece of green bamboo filled with spiritual qi that made them completely shocked to death. Wasn't that the bamboo of enlightenment? Xiaoyu was just surprised, asking what enlightenment bamboo was. Qin asked if Xiaoyu didn't know, but she thought that was normal. Most people in the world had never heard of enlightenment bamboo, but when it came to enlightenment bamboo, immortal Ling Yun's palace knew all about it. It was such a rare opportunity, so she would give Xiaoyu an explanation. At the same time, Nianfan picked up the bamboo and said how the firewood was there. Did it fall when he was carrying it? Qin and Xiaoyu then looked in surprise at Nianfan, wondering what kind of firewood she was talking about. Nianfan said, giggling, that he used the bamboo for cooking. Nianfan said earnestly that it was a good thing. The rice cooked using the bamboo was incredibly delicious. Nianfan asked them both not to look at him strangely like that, as he was a person who thought a lot about quality of life. Qin already mentally hit as if her spirit was already in heaven, without saying anything. Xiaoyu innocently asked Qin if enlightenment bamboo was used for cooking. Qin immediately shouted, how could it be like that? There was a legend that said when a person gained enlightenment under the body tree and reached heaven, the tree would become Taoist and would be called the sacred tree. Although enlightenment bamboo was not as good as the body tree, it remained a very rare item. If a master attained enlightenment repeatedly without any bamboo by their side, the Taoism would be in chaos. After all, how could a bamboo gain realization and cultivate Taoism? Qin was completely filled with shock. She said, biting her thumb, that for thousands of years no one had achieved immortality. That was why the bamboo of enlightenment became just a legend. The legend existed because Ling Yun's immortal palace currently still held a single bamboo of enlightenment. Who would have expected the bamboo to only end up as firewood in Nianfan's place? What a terrible sin. Deep down, Qin said if this was her fate and mission, she would prevent the burning of that bamboo of enlightenment. She would prevent Nianfan from burning that bamboo of enlightenment. Seeing Qin, Nianfan asked if Qin was alright. With a shy expression, Qin told Nianfan to forgive her for her impoliteness. She wondered if Nianfan could give her the bamboo. It was a rare item and perfect for his master to use. It was very important to her. Nianfan reacted to the request. He asked if the master was a craftsman. In fact, the bamboo was left over from the bamboo he used to make bows. If Qin liked it, then she could take it. Nianfan continued, but would that be enough? Qin didn't seem to understand. She didn't know how to thank him or what to do. She just asked for bamboo. That was more than enough. Out of nowhere, Nianfan tossed the remaining bamboo into the stove, saying he would use the rest for firewood. The souls of the burnt bamboo evaporated into smoke. The sight of it made Qin completely stiff, silently crying and apologizing to the burning bamboo. She could only save one small bamboo. Xiaoyu, seeing Qin's behavior, said to herself, although she did not know about the enlightenment bamboo, but she thought Qin looked very miserable at this moment. Moved somewhere, which was Ling Yun's immortal palace. Qin had returned to the palace because she was a saint, and many people greeted her arrival. Qin stepped towards an altar, and her face slightly looked up to see something that seemed to be slightly taller than her. It was a large statue on a cliff, apparently greeting her master. The statue somehow answered Qin's greeting by saying whether Qin had returned and brought the fox. Qin politely apologized that she couldn't bring the fox. The statue replied, then why had Qin returned? A bit worried, Qin said that although she didn't bring back the fox, she knew where the nine-tailed fox was. She also met someone who was equivalent to heaven. His master asked what kind of person could be the equivalent of heaven. Qin said that it was an expert who saved the nine-tailed fox from doom. Master Ling was impressed with Nianfan, the person Qin was referring to, for being able to save people from calamity, whether that person was a righteous or a wicked person. Qin replied that despite the expert taking the nine-tailed fox, he had no bad intentions. He once again asked if Qin thought Ling Yun's immortal palace could retrieve the nine-tailed fox. Qin said that the truth was that Ling Yun's immortal palace would never be able to retrieve it. Master Ling's voice on the statue was gone, and there was only silence. But suddenly in front of Qin, who was kneeling, someone appeared. That person was Master Ling. He said that if indeed the expert Qin was referring to had no evil intentions towards the fox, then Ling Yun's palace could leave it alone. Master Ling understandingly said that it looked like Qin was exhausted, she should go and rest. Qin was grateful for Master Ling's concern. She also asked whether it was true that the heavenly heart zither was broken. The zither is a musical instrument that is plucked. With a deep sigh, Master Ling confirmed it. The heavenly heart zither was made of enlightenment bamboo. He was afraid that no one could repair it now. Qin asked if they had enlightenment bamboo, could the heavenly heart zither be repaired? Master Ling somehow understood Qin's good intentions to repair the heavenly heart zither, but there was only one bamboo of enlightenment left in the world, and their ancestors were fortunate to have it, even if it was slightly damaged during transport. Otherwise, it wasn't an object that could be destroyed by a few thousand years. Qin should think about that carefully. Qin, without responding to Master Ling's ramblings, immediately showed the bamboo she had brought from Nianfan's place. She showed it by asking if it was the bamboo of enlightenment. Master Ling narrowed his eyes to take a better look at the bamboo, and suddenly Master Ling burst into tears of surprise. He confirmed that it was the bamboo of enlightenment. He grabbed the bamboo and looked at it carefully from all sides. He believed it was an enlightenment bamboo, even though it was short and had burn marks. Master Ling was still impressed because he saw an enlightenment bamboo other than the one he had, and it was even better. Master Ling was completely happy that the deity had blessed Ling Yun's palace. Over thousands of years, no one had dared to attack Ling Yun's palace of immortality. It was all thanks to Ling Yun's immortal palace cultivation base and also the heavenly heart zither. The heavenly heart zither was one of the precious items that approached immortality in the world. By owning that zither, the owner's strength would increase drastically, no matter if it was big or small. Whether it was a heavenly dynasty or even a demon king, they all respected it. Master Ling said confidently that since the path of immortality had been cut off and the heavenly heart zither had been broken, immortal Ling Yun's palace was in great trouble. But with the bamboo, he was confident that no one would dare with Ling Yun's immortal palace anymore. Master Ling asked where Qin got the enlightenment bamboo. Qin said that she got it from the master's place. The master used the bamboo for firewood. Master Ling was expressionless when he heard that the bamboo was used as firewood. Qin says once again that the enlightenment bamboo at the master's place was only used as firewood, and the master had a lot of enlightenment bamboo. Master Ling was flabbergasted to hear that the expert had so much firewood. Qin confirmed it and repeated once more that the master used enlightenment bamboo as real firewood. That also made Master Ling have a mental attack and spit out blood. Master Ling called Sin with a wicked face, but then Master Ling slapped away his wicked side and replaced it with a kind expression. He told Qin to continue to be polite and not bother the expert. Qin then informed that the master also wanted her to do something for the master. Master Ling immediately asked Qin to tell him what the expert's request was. Qin said that the first was that due to the nine-tailed fox, many cultivators were all over the place and disturbing the expert's rest, so the expert asked Ling Yun Palace to take care of it. Master Ling approached with a cruel face and asked Qin if the expert wanted the Ling Palace to kill all those people. Qin said that the master was a good person. He thought Ling Yun Palace should just kick them out. Hearing that made Master Ling understand. He happily said that it would not be easy, but they had to do it. Master Ling asked, so what was the second request? Qin hesitantly said that the expert really liked the 1,000-year Xuan ice liquid, so she promised to give everything to the expert. This made Master Ling once again mentally hit and spit out a mouthful of blood in disbelief. Qin was already scared by his master's expression, asking if the master was mad at her. But no, Master Ling wasn't mad and instead laughed wickedly and asked how much the expert wanted. Why didn't Qin just say that she could bring everything there? Qin was covered in cold sweat as she thought Master Ling was mad at her. Qin said she didn't dare say that, but it was all the truth. Master Ling ordered Qin to bring everything to Nianfan. Master Ling said silently with a sly smile on his face. He had lived thousands of years and now it was a blessing to be able to see the expert. Master Ling firmly told her not to think about it anymore. They had to carry out all the orders immediately. Kai was even more impressed with his master. Moving to the forest ground near Nianfan's residence, the cultivators were seen camping. They were purposely there in the forest to search for the existence of the transformed nine-tailed fox, but they still hadn't found it. Then suddenly someone told the cultivators that the whereabouts of the nine-tailed fox had been found. Of course, they didn't waste the opportunity and rushed off to catch it. Master Bai turned out to be there as well. A cultivator who was there asked Master Bai for his confirmation about the discovery of the nine-tailed fox. Master Bai confirmed it and pointed out the direction. Indeed, a fox was seen running away, but suddenly it was caught by several ceiling formations. The nine-tailed fox was already overwhelmed by the ceiling formation, and from up above there was someone. It looked like Qin and also Master Ling. Master Ling said that the fox wouldn't be able to go anywhere. Master Ling then ordered a capture and the formation wrapped around the nine-tailed fox. The people couldn't do anything because Master Ling was capturing it. The nine-tailed fox kept struggling, but finally it was captured by Master Ling and disappeared. Master Bai seemed to have become Master Ling's supporting role to convince the cultivators who were there. Master Bai said if they didn't have enough strength, no matter how great this opportunity was, they confirmed Master Bai's statement. After all, the cultivators couldn't defend Ling Yun's immortal palace. Master Bai seemed annoyed and left immediately. He asked them not to talk about it anymore, it was over. The cultivators felt that Master Bai was upset, but they also thought it was reasonable because Master Bai had waited a long time for the nine-tailed fox, but it was instead obtained by Ling Yun's immortal palace. 4 hours later, Qin and the people from Ling Yun Immortal Palace were seen cleaning up a place. Qin said if the place they were cleaning was the backyard of the expert's residence, then they should clean it neatly and not leave any trash there. Qin looked annoyed that the cultivators were so unethical. They were making such trouble just to catch the nine-tailed fox. How could the expert go out to have fun if those cultivators were walking around the expert's residence? Master Ling, who had just arrived there, ordered everyone to work harder and not to forget to clean up even the smallest amount of trash for the sake of the expert. Master Bai was already there and greeted Master Ling. Master Bai seemed to have been waiting all along. He asked Master Bai not to be too polite to him as he was the master's honored guest. Master Bai, who was curious, asked permission to ask something about the nine-tailed fox that was seen and caught earlier. Master Ling showed something like a fox in his hand, asking if that was what Master Bai was referring to. Apparently, it was a small doll. Master Ling said that it was just a trick to fool the cultivators. Master Bai was really impressed by the trick Master Ling used. He really almost believed it. In the end, Master Bai didn't get upset. Master Bai said that the world would soon find out that the nine-tailed fox had been owned by Ling Yun's immortal palace, and there would be no more delusions about it in the future. Master Ling didn't need to worry because it was all thanks to their cooperation as well. After exchanging a few more words, Master Bai finally said goodbye to leave. Continues previous story, then Qin told Master Ling that although the Lin Immortal Palace had claimed to have captured the nine-tailed fox, she was worried that they wouldn't just let go and leave the nine-tailed fox to the Lingyun Immortal Palace. Master Ling tried to confirm, was it the Silver Moon Demon King? Qin confirmed it, that was him. Moving on to an unknown village, a pig monster attacked and terrified everyone. The pig monster shouted for humans to dedicate themselves and become appetizers for him. He was the chef of the Silver Moon Demon King's troops. With his 18 skills, he would not let their death be a waste. The pig monster's head was suddenly hit by something from above, knocking it down. It was a purple-haired woman who was the demon captain of the Silver Moon King's guard. The woman was called Squirrel. Squirrel asked what the pig was doing while everyone was busy. Squirrel warned the pig not to cry if the Silver Moon Demon King cut it into pieces. The pig argued that while everyone was busy looking for the heavenly demon fox, they needed food, right? So he was grabbing food. Anyway, as the Silver Moon Demon King's chef, he came to the village to look for ingredients, and he wanted to see if the nine-tailed fox was among them. The pig looked at the trap he was carrying. The old man in the trap was trembling and asking to be released. The squirrel found the old man very unappetizing as it was wrinkled and not edible. The squirrel pulled the old man's neck out of the trap and dropped him to his death. The pig did not understand what the squirrel was doing. The squirrel scolded the pig for being stupid. Why did the pig catch the old one? He should have caught the fat and nutritious one for the king. The villagers were smart. They gave up the old men and hid the young women and children. During their conversation, they noticed that someone was looking at them. It was a little girl. The squirrel said that it seemed like the girl's flesh was very tender. Moving on to a place full of thunder and lightning, tornadoes, and torrential rain, there was a flood that swept through the neighborhood. A giant bird was seen on top of a hill looking at the flash flood in front of it. The squirrel had returned and met the bird monster. It was the Silver Moon Demon King. The squirrel brought a piece of meat and asked the king to eat something light first, not to torture himself, just to wait for the nine-tailed fox. The Demon King didn't want to eat it and asked if the nine-tailed fox had been found. The squirrel said that they hadn't found it yet. He was likely unhappy with the report. He said that if the fox was hiding in the mountain, then he would destroy the mountain. If the fox was hiding in the ocean, then he would drain the ocean. If they all couldn't find it, then he would do by himself. With piercing gaze, the Demon King said when the time came, they would all become side dishes for him. The squirrel was drenched in cold sweat and understood. A small bird suddenly came to report. The bird monster said that it found the whereabouts of the nine-tailed fox, but the people from immortal Lingyun's palace had taken it away. The Demon King stared intently at the little bird monster, leaving the bird monster scared to death. In a heavy, intimidating voice, the Demon King said if the immortal palace could catch it, but why the monsters couldn't. The monster was so completely helpless under the pressure of the Demon King, forcing him to prostrate himself before the king. He apologized. He apologized for his incompetence. The Demon King said that the immortal palace was nothing after the destruction of the heart zither thousands of years ago. They are now just a bunch of lame people. Now that the monsters had lost to them, there was no reason for the little bird monster to live. Again, the little bird monster begged for mercy to the point of flapping its wings repeatedly in fear. The bird monster stammered, saying that it had found nine-tailed fox's sibling that as of now six-tailed. The demon lord looked a little pleased with the news. He said that it seemed like the bird monster was still useful. The Demon King confidently said that he would catch the small one first and the big one would follow soon. The Silver Moon Demon King immediately took off to fly somewhere to find it, back to Master Ling and Qin. In the distance, a whirlwind and lightning struck. The sight of it made Qin a little worried. He said that it seemed like the Demon King had come out. Master Ling did not respond and remained silent for a while. Qin said that the Silver Moon Demon King became very violent while chasing the nine-tailed fox, but the ordinary sex of the Xian dynasty wouldn't dare to fight him. If it was like this, then it would be difficult and crimes would be raging. Master Ling responded the Silver Moon Demon King had cultivated to the divine test stage. Nobody would risk going against him. The Silver Moon Demon King had spread information about the existence of the nine-tailed fox to the world for everyone to look for it, and the Demon King would just sit until someone found it. After that, he will make his move. This surprised Qin when she learned the cultivation level of the Silver Moon Demon King. In that case, wouldn't the Silver Moon Demon King be looking for immortal Lingyun's palace? Master Ling asked Qin not to worry too much because the heavenly heart zither had been repaired. He would no longer fear the Silver Moon Demon King. He just needed to wait for him to come and made him learn. Surely, Qin was worried about that, but it was useless. Master Ling had put on an expression of confidence and determination. Master Ling said that they had finally finished cleaning up the expert's courtyard. How could they let the Silver Moon Demon King mess up again? Master Ling was getting more and more impassioned. He shouted that the expert told them to clean up carefully. Master Ling continued if the Demon King caused trouble for the expert and the expert blamed immortal Ling Yun's palace, wouldn't that mean his best chance so far was wasted? Resentfully, Master Ling was still saying things. He was an important chess piece of the master. Even if he had to go through hell, he would never give up. Qin felt that she understood what her master meant. She felt even more admiration for her master. Moving on to Day's sister, the six-tailed fox was currently overwhelmed. She didn't really know if she had provoked someone. She kept getting beaten up and knocked to the ground. She tried to escape and hoped that someone would help her. It turned out that the Silver Moon Demon King was there and continued to command the other monsters to chase immediately. The Silver Moon Demon King was a little surprised to find out that the six-tailed fox had now evolved into a seven-tailed one, which was really interesting to him. The Silver Moon Demon King laughed out loud, happily knowing that if he could capture the nine-tailed and seven-tailed foxes and search for the secrets in their bodies, then the day he became immortal would be a piece of cake. Now, the seven-tailed fox was hiding and scared in the bush. She was worried whether the monsters were chasing her to find out where her big sister was. However, a monster suddenly found her in the bush, but the seven-tailed fox was still able to escape. She decided to run in the opposite direction of her sister's whereabouts. She couldn't let her sister get caught. Halfway through her escape, the seven-tailed fox stopped because the Silver Moon Demon King had confronted her. He immediately attacked with his claws and slashed at the seven-tailed fox. The seven-tailed fox was already hopeless and only froze in the face of the attack, but the attack did not hurt her. It turned out that Qin was already there blocking the Silver Moon Demon King's attack. The fox was curious where Qin was. Qin immediately told the fox to leave. Following the order, the seven-tailed fox hurried to hide. Master Ling was also there. He told the Silver Moon Demon King that his time was up. The Silver Moon Demon King was pissed off by this interruption from Master Ling, as he had his quarry in front of his eyes, yet he was being interrupted. Were they ready to die? The Silver Moon Demon King unleashed his intimidation aura on Qin and Master Ling, but Master Ling broke the intimidation aura with just a flick of his hand. Master Ling said that his head was already hurting right now, so there was no need for the Demon King to shout. Master Ling sighed and put his hand on his lips, telling the Demon King to keep quiet. The expert was probably sleeping right now. They continued to boast a few things, but Master Ling didn't want to waste any more time. Better that they fight right away. The Demon King would certainly serve Master Ling's challenge because nobody could beat him. Master Ling was just trash before him. Both parties immediately dashed at such an incredible speed that they were difficult to see by eye. The simultaneous impact of attack after attack created shockwave in the surroundings. The Demon King said that the demon monsters were afraid of Ling's immortal palace just because Ling Yun's palace held the blessing of the Heavenly Heart Zither. However, now Ling Yun's palace Heavenly Heart Zither has been broken. So how could he, the Demon King, be afraid of Ling's master? The moment the Demon King's claws were about to touch Master Ling pulled out his Heavenly Heart Zither and made an attack. The sound waves from the zither strumming were able to hollow out several mountains and were able to knock the Silver Moon Demon King far away. As Qin saw her master using his Heavenly Heart Zither, she tried to rebuke him for being too noisy. The noise would upset the master and awaken him from his rest. Master Ling apologized for getting carried away. Both Qin and Master Ling approached the Silver Moon Demon King, who was blown away by his attack. The Silver Moon Demon King didn't expect the Heavenly Heart Zither to have been repaired, knowing that it required the bamboo of enlightenment to repair it, and it was currently the only one on Earth. How could the zither be repaired? The statement of the Silver Moon Demon King led Master Ling to misunderstand. He felt that he had understood everything. Master Ling said that everything was in accordance with the expert's calculations. The expert gave him the enlightening bamboo to help him kill the Demon King. He admired Nianfan even more. It was an opportunity sent by God. He had become Nianfan's best chess piece. The misunderstanding intensified as Qin joined in provoking his master. It seemed that the Demon King didn't want to continue the fight. He offered Master Ling a chance. If Master Ling did not make himself an enemy, then after capturing the nine-tailed fox and finding out the truth together, immortality would be in their hands. Then Qin whispered something to Master Ling, that the great opportunity the Demon King offered was nothing compared to the expert. Master Ling agreed with this. The Silver Moon Demon King was already very confident and continued to persuade Master Ling to cooperate with him. However, the Silver Moon Demon King was suddenly surprised and asked why Master Ling was looking at him with such a concerned face. Master Ling said the Demon King's offer was so boring it was completely pointless. The Heavenly Demon King, who felt belittled, continued to rant and cuss at Master Ling until his spit ran down Master Ling's face. He promised to repay Master Ling for his humiliation in the future. For now, he would retreat. The Demon King walked away and left Master Ling and Qin behind.